very good evening and welcome to this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I'm Theruni Karuna Ratna. Let's start off with your top stories for this evening.
News First headline.
Attorney General announces retirement amid extension debate. Supreme Court says its purpose is not to govern or suspend the Constitution. Court blocks move to remove Virat Telugu Reserve's protected status. In news overseas, Pakistan court rejects Imran Khan and wife's appeal in unlawful marriage case. And in sports, Murray resumes training in bid to play at Wimbledon. On to your top story this evening, Sanjay Rajaratnam announced that he has now retired from the position of Attorney General. The President's recommendation to extend his service by 6 months was not approved by the Constitutional Council on 2 occasions. Following the rejection of the President's recommendation to extend Sanjay Rajaratnam's service by a majority vote, the Constitutional Council reconvened last afternoon to reconsider the matter. The meeting began around 6 p.m. at the Speaker's official residence and lasted for approximately 4 hours. A member of the Constitutional Council stated that it was decided the Council does not have the authority to approve the extension for the Attorney General after reaching the age of 60. Accordingly, the Constitutional Council's decision was communicated to the President last night via a letter. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court emphasized its purpose is not to control the President or suspend the Constitution. This announcement came while considering a request made by Venerable Dambara Amilatero and Professor Mahim Mendes to intervene in a petition that had been granted an interim injunction preventing the appointment of judges to the Supreme Court. The request was considered by a bench comprising Justices S. Raja, Shiran Gunaratna and A.H.M.D. Nawaz. The bench noted that the interim order was issued after a thorough consideration of the presented arguments. The Supreme Court had previously issued an interim order on the 30th of April, barring the President and the Constitutional Council from appointing judges to the Supreme Court, following a petition filed by a lawyer as a concerned citizen. The petitioners stated today that no party has opposed the modification or removal of this order. Deputy Solicitor General Kanishka De Silva, representing the Attorney General, stressed on the need for an expedited examination and resolution of the said petition. After consideration, the bench decided that the petition should be reviewed promptly and set the hearing for the 25th of July. The bench also directed both parties to file any objections, counter-objections and written submissions regarding these petitions. Meanwhile, the intervening parties pointed out that several parliamentarians have claimed that the interim order issued by the Supreme Court interferes with the executive's powers. The petitions also stated that statements made in Parliament by Ministers Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, Susil Premajayantha and parliamentarian Dayasiri Jayasekara have severely criticized the judiciary and the Judicial Services Commission. President's counsels Upul Jayasuriya and Dilan Philip appeared for the petitioners, while President's counsels M. A. Sumantiran and K. Kanagiswaran represented the Constitutional Council. Now, in more local news, the Supreme Court issued an order today preventing the enforcement of the Gazette notification issued by the Minister of Wildlife, Pavitra Vanniyarachchi, which removed the protected status of a section of the Virat Telugu Nature Reserve. The Supreme Court issued this order in response to 2 fundamental rights petitions filed by several environmental organizations. The Virat Telugu Nature Reserve, located in the Manthe West Divisional Secretariat of Mana, is a vital mangrove and bird sanctuary known for its rich biodiversity. On the 6th of May, Minister of Wildlife Pavitra Vanniyarachchi issued a Gazette notification releasing 400 acres of this highly sensitive environmental zone from its protected status. Now, although the Gazette did not specify the reasons for this decision, Fisheries Minister Douglas Devananda later stated that the land was released to facilitate shrimp and sea cucumber farming. However, this move faced immediate opposition from environmental organizations and activists. Two of these organizations subsequently filed fundamental rights petitions with the Supreme Court, challenging this Gazette notification. The petitions were heard by a Supreme Court bench comprising Justices Priyantha Jayawardena, Shiran Gunaratne and Achala Vengapule. The bench granted leave to proceed with the petitions and issued an interim order preventing the implementation of this Gazette notification until the conclusion of this case. The petitioners argued that the removing of the significant portion of the Vidattalathil Nature Reserve from its protected status would cause substantial environmental harm. They highlighted the potential damage to the aquatic ecosystem, the region's environmental balance and the overall ecological system. Respondents named in the petitions include Minister of Wildlife Pavitra Vanyarachi, Minister of Environment Ranil Wickramasinghe and the Attorney General, among others. Representing the petitioners, President's Counsel Sanjeeva Jayawardena, along with Attorney at Law Nilshanta Sirimanne and a group of attorneys appeared in court. Let's now take a look at international news.
International news.
A court in Pakistan has rejected an appeal by former Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife to suspend a February ruling that their 2018 marriage violated the Islamic law. The decision by the court in Islamabad on Thursday means that Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi will remain behind bars. The 7-year jail sentence handed on 3rd of February was announced 5 days before the country's general elections and followed 2 other convictions for Khan in separate cases. Both have since been overturned. The marriage case against the couple was filed last year by Bibi's former husband Kawar Maneka, who alleged that his divorced wife did not observe the necessary 3-month break required under the Islamic law before marrying Khan. Let's now take a look at your sports news.
Sports news.
And in sports news, it's tennis. Former Wimbledon champion Andy Murray has resumed training after back surgery in the lead up to the grass court Grand Slam. But the 37-year-old said on Thursday that he would take as much time as possible before deciding on his participation. Men's governing body, the ATP, announced on Sunday in a since-deleted social media post that Murray would miss the tournament. But Britain's Davis Cup captain Leon Smith said no decision has been made. Murray, the twice Wimbledon singles champion, hopes to play doubles with his brother Jamie at the All England Club. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Vyas 101's Visual Radio. For the News First team, I'm Theruni Karunaratne. Thank you very much for watching.